better today than yesterday, and I know you are much greater than Greater
I'm
Accra.
greater than Accra. I can tell you that for sure. Yesterday, the rain it came down small, as if it wanted to come. It didn't want to come. This dawn, I saw a few skirmishes. Are we safe?
Yes, that's the season in which we are entering. We are having our pressures increasing over some places, and it's likely to be preventing rain clouds from raining over us. So it's a condition that normally happens every year. So today too, we are having a rainstorm, but it's weak. That moved in from Cameroon through Nigeria, Benin, exiting into Togo and parts of the upper east region. We are expecting it to engulf the Savannah region, upper east, upper west, northeast, part of Oti region this morning up to late afternoon. So it's going to induce cloudiness over those places. Some areas over the western region too, also in rain and thunder this morning. We expect it to spread later to affect the western north and parts of central region. Greater Accra today, we expect it to be partly cloudy. The sun will come in, likewise those of us in eastern Volta and then parts of Ashanti region. But later in the afternoon into the evening hours, we expect localized rain and thundercloud formations over these regions, which is not going to affect every area. But we are still monitoring. If it's going to spread, intensify, we'll release a weather warning to that effect. But apart from that, Greater Accra will be pretty cool for any outdoor activities today, especially during the daytime.
Great. Thank you so much indeed for your time this morning, Felicity. We're grateful.
Thank you too. Enjoy the weekend.
You too, darling. Enjoy your weekend. 25 minutes here after 6, 3FM 92.7. Echo Welbeck is tuning and Casa. Logos. Bala Brazil. Gikestro. Wagsy. Everybody's tuning. I'm told we're loud in the capital. Many different places. Aha, Nagana Etio. Get everybody. Helen Apia Ampofo of present memory is here in flesh and blood. For a moment, I thought the rain had captured you.
Oh no.
For a moment.
There were some small showers.
Then I remember that, she drives a 4x4.
Oh.
What's going on? I mean, can a rain capture 4x4?
Wow.
I mean, we're not at a Galamsey site.
Wow.
Can you imagine? How are you doing though? How did you sleep?
Is there doomsday or there's no doomsday? Which is which?
Please.
We need to know.
Let us be calming down. Whatever it is, we have to be calming down. I asked this question of the energy minister. I said it's doomsday. But now we are told that Gridco has apologized to us that there's a certain shortage somewhere.
I see.
But I always thought that the government had insisted that the previous government had procured power in excess and that we were paying for power that we didn't need. So where is the shortage coming from if we indeed have excess? It's a common sense question.
Absolutely.
That we have excess and we are paying for it. And we are blaming the previous government for the excess. Now we have a shortage when we are still paying for the excess. We have seen government communicators go around regurgitate this point. So where is the excess? Away.
Great question. That would have been helpful to me last night. So I experienced some small heat. So the sleep wasn't too good. The lights
you felt hell on earth.
Trust me.
Temporarily, briefly.
Briefly. That's why on Sunday I'll be at church.
William, good morning. How you doing?
Perfect by grace.
Yeah. Did you also experience not doomsaw? Not doomsaw.
I think I was on Tuesday.
Yours was on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Since then,
Prince Henry Nkofodia, be calming down, okay? Yes. All those sending me messages about doom, so please be calming down. Yeah, be calming down. The Ghanaian Times this morning says Ghana to ban raw mineral exportation, according to the president. Yesterday he spoke at the William, why are you laughing? Tragedy. 9 children die in boat disaster after canoe capsizes at Fana Wiaboma in Wager. Also, application against processes to impose jail term on Atuasian dismissed. Court agrees to hear injunction application against NDC today. And on the Ghanaian Daily Graphic front page this morning, Ghana to reap full benefit from lithium. President Akufo-Addo pledges at Graphic Dialogue. Also, SNIT expands coverage to self-employed and commit environmental action for sustainable future. Graphic MD urges stakeholders natural resources must be managed responsibly. That includes rosewood, gold, and all of that. BNFT, evolution of banking industry enabling cooperation with fintechs. Banking sector remains resilient despite economic challenges. Interest rates reset key to private sector growth. GAB moots multi-stakeholder financial literacy fund, and only 2% of active SNIT contributors are self-employed. Haptel at 18 achieving success on the wheels of failure. Helen?
All right, well, I've got the Ghanaian Observer and the Finder newspaper. The Ghanaian Observer this morning has the president pictured on the front page. Government to ban exportation of bauxite and iron ore. NDC's primaries in limbo. And Vice President Bawumia Lord's work on new GNPC office. Local vaccine production. President charges NVI board to expedite action. RTI application to go online, and that's coming from the
RTI. That when we write, they don't mind us.
So now they're taking it digital. You can get the same essence when you go on.
We hope that when we write to the presidency to ask them about Frimpong Party reports, they actually respond.
We live to see. The Finder newspaper this morning: Ghana to stop exporting raw minerals. Again, the president is pictured here.
D for Dabeng.
On the front page.
D for Dabeng.
D for Dabeng. Johnny, you're asking?
Yes, I'm asking you. Anyway, William.
The Republic Press this morning.
Well, a few more.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yes,
sorry.
They had more than one story. more than one story, Johnny. Be calming down.
I'm calm.
Well, Dr. Bawumia impressed with progress of work on the GNPC operational office. Banking sector solvent and strong to support economic growth. It's coming from the Bank of Ghana. You have the Deputy Bank of Ghana governor also pictured here in the unfortunate news of the 9 kids who have lost their lives to that canoe disaster. May their souls rest in peace.
Okay. William?
So now we go to the Republic Press. Today is D-Day for NDC. The composition of the delegates that will elect the presidential candidate of the opposition National Democratic Congress on 13th May remains a subject of controversy, as courts is yet to determine whether or not the party's congress should be held based on the existing register and photo album, which has been described by one of the aspirants in the race as flawed. 45-year-old Mason Butcher's final year student over 5 Ghana cedis will cook after payment of arrears. School feeding caterers insists. Atu Asians' fate hangs as court dismisses application against jail term and agreed ministry to introduce rice seed tracking system to improve production. Daily Guide this morning: tragedy hits Wager and 9 pupils drown. Bawumia impressed with GNPC Tardy project and Nana calls for unity in fights against Galamsey. We still have the Atosian story here, whose freedom hangs in limbo, and Adwoa Safo returns to NPP. We'll get the details when we come back.
As in Awawa too.
There's a photograph of her and Frema Osei Opare, Chief of Staff of the Republic of
Chief of Staff who sent. So has she received the money that Kennedy Japan said was sent through him to her? Some 124,000. Appearance fee. Because the Chief of Staff went to wait at a hall, I'm told, and she didn't come down from the top. Zacchaeus, come down from the sycamore tree. Zacchaeus, come down. Oh my God. But William, I think that we have not paid particular attention to this school feeding thing. This will be the 4th week. The caterers have been on strike.
Time flies. We're in the 4th week
They
already.
have not been paid their monies. And everybody is okay. The president even has gone for the coronation of King Charles, has come back. He's asked Kempinski talking about natural resources stakeholders dialogue, as if nothing is happening. These are the children of our future. And like everybody is okay.
So over the last few months, EduWatch has been talking about the fact that there's a huge gap in financing of operations at the basic level in terms of schools, because the concentration appears to be on the free SHS thing. And if you look at what happened at Wager, the issue is why would they cross the lake or the water body to go to school? The community, they don't have a school. I mean, they should have a school. Why would they have to go in a canoe without protection, without life jacket? And people are just not paying attention. And 9 children die at once. When we look at what happened in the Adan area, a number of them died. And this morning we are hearing that a teacher also died. So at the basic level, these are things that should be taken care of. If you look at our mission stories on TV3, we see a lot of people still lying on the floor and sitting on pieces of stone or like cement blocks just to study. So the basic level, what is the government's plan? If the concentration is on the free SHS, it doesn't mean that they should neglect the basic level, because the people who come to feed the second, they are coming from the basic level. And if you give them this kind of treatment, they go to the so-called free SHS, and there they are facing challenges in terms of accommodation, in terms of feeding. What kind of human resource are we producing for the country?
But you see, William, when we mention the issues at the second cycle institution, at least you see a certain kind of speed. We mentioned Ganasco, toilets for dormitories. Quickly say, step aside, we're investigating. We mentioned Koko Sakura secondary schools. Oh, minister says, we have food, we are taking it there, even though belatedly. I mean, you mentioned something about free SHS, and quickly the government moves in. Is it because those at the secondary school level or second cycle are able to vote at elections? Because once you're done with secondary school, Form 3, you are 18, some 19, some 20. So you are eligible to vote. Is the government more interested in the votes rather than trying to get the basics right? Because if your foundation is built on straw, forget about it. I've had occasion to be a guest lecturer at GIJ and other training institutions, and you speak to the level hundreds. Sometimes you wonder, did these people actually go through secondary school? And the lecturers will tell you sometimes they have to go over things that were taught at the basic school, secondary school level, before they had to recalibrate their minds before they actually bring them to speed. That, look, you are here, we're not supposed to be teaching, we're supposed to be lecturing, you're supposed to do a lot of reading and researching on your own. So we need to pay particular attention. And for me, I'm hurt that for 4 weeks and counting, children have not had what to eat in school, and everybody is okay. There's something fundamentally wrong with us as a country. Fundamentally, there's something wrong. Because if you ever lived with your grandfather or grandmother, or even your father or your mother, or anybody who actually loves you, before my grandfather eats, he would ask, have all the children eating before he eats? If somebody says, Pim, I have not eaten, he confirms that the person indeed has not eaten, is not being naughty. He gives a portion of his food or all of the food to the children to eat, and he sits down. How is it that we have old people ruling us, and they are eating, they are feeding fat, and the children are hungry? It doesn't add up. And when we talk about African values, this is an African value. So you can't be talking about, dress well, speak well, respect the elders, blah, 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 blah. And then the opposite is happening from the top. It's a shame.
It is a big shame. When I say we're living in a poly-crisis. This is what I mean. From the very young all the way up until the very old, nobody is spared from the, what I call, irresponsible leadership that we're currently facing. And 4 weeks has flown by because of all of the other issues that we have to contend with. You turn right, there's something that's staring you in the face that needs addressing. You turn left, it's the same issue, but bringing it back to the school feeding issue. Right from when the school feeding caterers felt disrespected at the doorstep of the Ashanti Regional Minister, up until now, I haven't seen that same, energy that we see other issues being addressed in the education sector. And government says that they value the contributions of the school feeding caterers.
They don't.
They know
It's
that
a lie.
the work that they do is important.
It's a lie.
They know the children must eat. Feeding and education go hand in hand.
It's a lie.
We're simply not seeing the optics reflecting.
It's a lie, please.
All of these things. As always, I don't even know what else to say.
Look, we have in the past week spoken about RTI, spoken about Frimpong Boateng's report, spoken about getting the best of our mineral resources, spoken about press freedom, spoken about what have we spoken about? And I'm saying that the president has even gone to the coronation of King Charles and returned. He's gone to do patio and returned. And the children, the basic necessaries of like food, clothing, and shelter. Food is number one. How? And we owe them. And you know that what even hurts me is that the amount that is owed, 97 pesos per plate of food. 97 pesos, less than 1 cedi. This afternoon, some big man will go and sit somewhere in some big hotel with not his wife or his side issues. Then they will spend up to 2,500 on just afternoon food. Pay the caterers, you won't pay them. Then you come and tell us, oh, we love Ghana. Anyway.
What else is there to
William is just saying.
I mean, it's because the conversations, because the free SHS also become a political project. So anytime you touch it, the party or the government feels touched. But when you talk about basic school and the other sectors of the education area, then we have some, if you like, inaction. Because I think it was a political promise and they think that they have to deliver. Even there, they are having challenges. And the issue is simple for me, as I always say. We are not intentional about anything. Even the education system that we have, and in terms of the kind of human resource that we have produced over the years, it's as if we are all schooling but not educating the people in the schools. Because you just have to go through the mill and get the numbers and use the numbers to do your campaign and say, look, this year
we're able to do this.
The percentage over this have passed, and so our party or our government did better. But the quality of education, even if they are getting educated, is one thing. Or are they just schooling? Because people just go through the motion, and at the end of the day, what kind of people do we have to come and lead the development of this country? Because if somebody is going to school, he wakes up in the morning, he has to go and stand by the road for hours before he will pick a vehicle and sitting for a long time. Our roads are bad.
Or even use a canoe in Accra.
So it's a problem. But when we talk about Accra, the point must also be made that Accra has its
the rural,
sub-urban areas, peri-urban areas, rural. So these are issues that happen in other parts of Ghana that we would describe as the countryside. So if it's something that we must do in terms of building schools, we must spread them properly. Don't just assume that because it's in Accra or Greater Accra, everything is okay. So that when we are looking at building schools, we look at places like Weja. If there are some sub-urban or peri-urban area around there, we go and put a school there, because that's what the residents are asking for. If they had a school, they wouldn't cross for 9 children to die. The lake or the river.
The river. Yeah.
With the
Weja River.
What's the protection? There's no protection. I don't think it's a boat. And if the reports are saying it's a canoe, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this yesterday. Looking at the clips that came from what Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe shared from that location. It did appear to me that the people were just not interested in trying any CPR resuscitation kind of thing. We always claim that education began in Africa, knowledge and everything else started in Africa. But people, okay, yes, they have drowned. You have found them. Did we even try the CPR to resuscitate them? I didn't see that. All we saw was that people, they have come, we cover them with cloth, we pick them, we're going to drop them off at the morgue. And I think that's worrying. Maybe for those who live along the banks, all the Germany area, Weja, all those places where around the Dinsu and everybody else, we need to bring them up to speed.
Yeah.
The basics of first aid. What do you do if you find somebody lying down, a lifeless body, or something that looks like a lifeless body? Because it's only a doctor that can declare somebody dead. What do you do? How do you help the person? Because if you will, I remember what Stadium Man told us not so long ago on the 9th of May in commemoration of the May night disaster. He mentioned that, look, people assumed that he was dead. It took a woman who was selling cold water to come and pour the water on him, and then luckily for him it was drizzling, so the water and everything else, and somebody at the 37 military hospital thought that he wasn't dead, and that was how his life was saved. But for that, he would have been dead. So the people who are washed ashore, first thing we do, or we rescue them from inside the water, first thing we do is we wrap them in some cloth, and then we are taking them to the morgue. I think that's
an additional layer that we have to add to the conversation, and it also cuts across different types of disasters. When the fire service was here as well, they talked about how people think they know better than the service, they rush in and so on and so forth. So it'll be a good measure to also, as a people, get education on what to do in these types of disasters. If you live along a riverbank or you commute by river, I think as a basic necessity, you should be educated on these things. As you say, sometimes you go out in public, somebody faints, people rather rush, crowd the person, instead of maybe moving away, giving them some air.
These days they take videos.
They take videos, yes.
Charlie.
It's an explosion. Instead of walking away, you see people walking towards the explosion with their cameras. Everybody wants to be the first to capture it on their phone. So all of these things, I think, as a people, we should also be expanding our thoughts to how we manage disasters and the like.
Well, page 9 of the Ghanaian Times says EC withdraws from the election over Dr. Dufour's case. The court will hear the application for injunction today, and the NDC is hoping that all things will be equal. They will go ahead with the primaries. The Electoral Commission says, not us, we won't be here.
It's not looking too
No, we won't be here.
Certain.
The Electoral Commission is setting in their minds that they, even if you decide upon it, we will not be there. We are not part of it. So you can go and do your thing. And the concerns about neutrality comes to play. Tim Dufour is already crying wolf and saying, Charlie, no, it's not going good for us. So let's see how it goes in court, and let's see if the NDC. I'm thinking, could the NDC perhaps engage the Electoral Commission and have this on Sunday? It's possible, because if the Electoral Commission has insisted emphatically that, look, Ochina dear, tomorrow dear, forget about us. They have an opportunity between today, when the matter is decided, and the full day tomorrow, if they really are interested, to move the things around the country and have the election on Sunday. Because speaking to the aspirants, Charlie, the monies that they have pushed into this thing,
it's something that they can discuss.
No big children.
But I just wanted to go back to the unfortunate incident of the boat, the canoe accident. One agency that is not been in the news when these things happen is the Ghana Maritime Authority. I was just checking their website, and they are saying that